we couldn't figure out how to make a torsion bar front end, so we thought, what are we going to do about this? And Bob Skinner, he knew his way around every business in LA. So the spring guys, the leaf spring companies, there's a couple big ones in LA. They were perfect. They'll make you anything you want. You could show up at 10 o'clock at night, bring a little sketch, drop it off, come back the next night and the part would be ready. I mean, back when businesses were really user-friendly.
Later in this interview process, Tom, we're going to talk about individuals that were part of the experience.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to start off with Bill Simpson on this one. Bill Simpson, like everybody back then, was a nobody. His day job, I believe, was with the movie companies.
He was a grip at the movie studio.
Right. And by night, with his little sewing machine, he started something that blossomed into the Simpson Safety Equipment Company.
That's exactly right.
Right. But at the time, he was just Bill.
Yes.
He made a lot of things for you guys. He made fire suits. He made face masks. He made parachutes.
Yes.
Your team and him introduced the dual parachute concept. Here's a great shot from you guys from '64 with your Simpson laundry out. And there's a couple of things I want to talk about that.
Yeah, this was an ad that Simpson had in Drag News. He used this picture, and I think that's caption, all of that was part of the ad, and then that became an 8x10 picture that he would hand out, just a glossy photo. No, Simpson, his day job was in Hollywood, and then he just had all these ideas, and Bill Simpson saved so many people's lives, and so much misery.
Or even a fate worse than death.
Yes.
You know, dying sometimes is the attractive alternative.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, Bill Simpson did an amazing thing for drag racing and motor racing in general. And fortunately, he and Mike Sorokin hit it off. They really were really good friends. And since Mike didn't have to work on the car, he could go down and visit with Simpson during the week, just routinely. And they'd work on ideas for face masks or better gloves or better. Every week it was something. And you commented on one picture you liked before we got started here. Every week Mike would have a different face mask, a different something. And so Mike was the guinea pig, or not the guinea pig, but he would go out and test the stuff that they would come up with. And Bill did a wonderful job for drag racing and other forms of motor racing too.
Well, we've moved on 1 week, so maybe there were some funny clocks at Long Beach at the DRB, because now we're back in
reality.
Mid-8s. Here we've gone mid-8s, and because Skinner, Crosser, and Jove qualified at 8:44, and Adams and Stewart are 8:68, so nobody else is really thumping the ground. But it once again makes reference to that surfer's car. Now the characteristic sharp idle of the Skinner, Cross, and Job 392 Chrysler was heard as Goob Tuller-driven car locked horns with a race car instinct Charger. So once again, there's that something out there. Now, they're not winning yet, but they're
knocking at the door.
Yeah.
there's also a match race going on that day between Greer Black and Prudhomme and Chris Caravasini. So Greer Black and Prudhomme is still running at this point, right?
Yes, for sure.
And
There's interesting sidebar on this particular match race. Greek was number one in the drag news list, and he was going to race weekly. And Black, he felt it was beneath him to have to hold a spot on the list in order to race for number one. So he wasn't on the list, and so knowing that they were going to race the weekly the following week, they talked CJ into having the Greek race the Greer Black and Prudhomme car, which was the dominant car at that point.
And so it wasn't for the number one spot. It was
It was just a match race.
Just a match race.
And the Greek gave him a driving lesson and beat him 2 straight. And Iski ran an ad that beat up on the Reverend, as Black was known.
Keith Black, yeah, the Reverend.
And Millar did a cartoon. I don't remember just exactly what the cartoon was. But he raced weekly, lost the spot, and the following week, Fontana brought in Greer Black and Prudhomme and the Greek. And Prudhomme won, and they presented Ted Fry and the guys from Iskandarian were there, and Tommy Greer and Prudhomme brought this stuffed donkey. And because in those days, the dummies were the donkeys. And they presented this trophy to him as for winning the second effort of the match race between Black
and who
Greek.
gave the donkey to who?
Prudhomme and Tommy Greer gave the donkey to Greek and Ted Fry and Iskandarian. And as a picture was in drag news at that point that showed the presentation of the donkey. And that was kind of in retribution for the beating they took at Lions
The week before.
Right.
and 2 weeks before, because they raced weekly in between. That was when they crossed the center line. The car's 90 degrees to the racetrack and the butterflies are wide open.
Oh.
And he's crossing the center line.
At Long Beach.
At Pomona. He raced weekly at Pomona for the
That's
the
right.
number one spot.
The Greek did that at Long Beach too one time.
Yeah.
Well, he did that a lot of strips at one time.
Well, we've moved a little farther into 1964, but we've moved a little farther from home, now in Pomona, California.
Uh-huh.
No longer at Long Beach. And not a lot of times, but it says, now for the really big show, Top Fuel Eliminator, 12 of the Southland's fastest were on hand to do battle for the $1,000. Skinner, Crosser, and Job were the first to get had. The mighty injected Chevy of Marsh and Steffi from Detroit put down the big Chiseler with times of 8:40 and 1:81:44. Skinner had a losing 8:95, 1:85. That little giant killer came out here and thumped you guys and a whole lot of other guys.
Boy, that thing was nasty.
895 and 185. That was a clear case of spinning the tires.
Yeah, trying to catch that little Chevrolet, which those injected Chevrolets were really quick off the starting line. A lot of guys won races over the Chryslers because all of a sudden this little Chevy's gone and they hit it too hard and blow the tires off the car. That happened a lot. The
Steffi and Marsh car and the Forsberg brothers.
Yeah.
Northern
Incredible.
California.
And Accessories Limited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's another car.
Bob
Those
Noyce.
guys all they beat up a lot of Chrysler.
360-inch Chevrolets and then of course they were of the lightweight variety.
Oh boy.
You know.
And the fans loved it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Loved
See
that.
that little Chevrolet. First, to see a
That
little
variable.
Chevrolet, injected Chevrolet, go out there and smoke the tires
Right.
was incredible.
Yes.
That was always fun to watch because you see these big Chryslers, they're making oodles of horsepower, and this little Chevrolet going up there going pop, 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 and then smoke the tires was wonderful. And then go out there and just thump a Chrysler was. I'm a Chevy guy.
It happened all the time.
It's coming out now.
I'm a
Okay,
Chevy guy.
all right.
Okay, now this shows us San Fernando. You're home away from home. Not quite, but not Fontana. Goob Tuller still driving. And it says it made your maiden your maiden appearance. You ran on 834 187. So running about the same no matter where you go.
No matter where
just
we go.
mid, low, and top fuel windup. Dixon against Tuller, but Tuller lost the oil pressure as he moved up to the line and had to shut off. Now, you normally didn't have things go wrong, but you had a guy that was at least paying attention, right? Lesser drivers would have never seen that.
They would have sidestepped it, and we would have been broke.
And you'd have had pieces and parts everywhere.
That'd be the end of our story.
That would be it.
This
It would be
part
over.
would be gone.
Yeah, when you'd lose oil pressure like that, you'd go back and tear the motor apart and figure out why, right? There must have been a reason why.
Oh, absolutely. Probably twisted off the fuel, the oil pump drive shaft.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we got something in the oil.
Right, sure.
Whatever it was, you can bet we did something about it. Because that's, boy, when you lose blood pressure in a Chrysler or in anything, you are in trouble.
Yeah.
Your wallet's in bigger trouble.
Yeah.
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 It's going to hurt.
Thank you, good.
It's going to hurt.
Yeah. Very good. Onward and upward.
So we're in April in San Fernando, but there are no times. This is Dave Wallace Sr., and he said they had a power outage and they had no times. So I guess you just had to guess who won.
No, Hibbler would go stand down at the finish line and tell you who won.
This combination right here is so beautiful.
So it just says this unhappy event coincided with the open header period, which we talked about. That was 10 to 3. So we just had to be, or 12 to 3.
Roughly.
Had to be content to just watch the likes of George Boltoff's gas dragster, Dixon and Bynum B fuel dragster, and that's Larry Dixon, by the way, Senior,
Right.
and Skinner Crosser and Job's Chrysler. So we have no times, but looks like top field next, Carcraft with Borquist against Tuller in the Skinner Crosser and Job fuel dragster. Borquist with another good strong run took the race as they held off Tuller's closing surge. So we don't know the times or anything, but take it home and come back next week.
Yeah.
You
Right.
didn't break it, but you got beat.
Boy, running at San Fernando was great. You know, just
It was
roll in there late, do a quick deal, you're out the door.
everybody qualified.
And of course you guys had you, in addition to running this car, during the week you would go to school.
I went to school full time. I was going to college. Always had.
At what school were you going to
I
school
was
at?
going to Santa Monica City College.
And what were you studying?
Mechanical engineering for a major and art for a minor.
And Bob Skinner was.
He was working at Carroll Shelby's Cobra factory in Venice, California, which is right down the road now.
Okay, and then you would meet up every night. You'd get together at the Red Apple, right?
Yep, and we'd work on that thing. Usually, like on the weekend, say you run San Fernando, we'd out of there. Load the thing up on the trailer, and you're out the gate maybe at 3:30, and it was only maybe half hour to get back to Santa Monica. Wasn't much traffic in those days. We'd get back, unload the thing, and we could blow the whole thing apart and study all our parts and figure out, okay, next week we got to do this, we got to do that. Take the block down here to get this done, or
And where would you take those things to have them done?
all over everywhere, all around.